This episode is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the #1 seller of games and gaming accessories. And GatheringMagic.com, the #1 resource for Magic the Gathering news and articles.
Hello, my name is Matt, and this is my excellent Rosheen Meanderer deck. Night after night, Rosheen babbled about a bygone sunlit world, her every word dismissed as a mad woman's ramblings. This is Rosheen Meanderer. She's the commander of my deck. She's a 4-mana 4/4 who makes a whole lot of mana that you can pump into your X spells. And as you might have guessed, that's exactly the theme of my deck. I've split this video up into 5 categories to make it real easy for you. We'll start off with the X cost spells, then we'll move into the mana, the tutors and card draw, miscellaneous utility, and finally we'll tackle the lands. Let's get started. First up we have Green Sun Zenith. This is a staple green tutor card. Citanul Flute, a repeatable tutor effect that interacts very favorably with Rosheen. Chord of Calling. Say you have some creatures out, maybe some 2/2 wolves. This card will come down a lot sooner than you might otherwise expect it to with the Convoke ability. Steel Hellkite. Nice flyer, when he connects you can destroy non-land permanents. Comet Storm. The multi-kicker mechanic on this card is great. You can just destroy a ton of creatures. Excuse me. Savage Twister. A nice board wipe that again is in keeping with the X-Spell theme. Clan Defiance. Destroy 2 creatures, deal a bunch of damage to a player. Apocalypse Hydra. This guy comes down big and he comes down hard, and you can remove those counters to start dealing damage to creatures. Rolling Thunder. A fireball variant that lets you use all that mana that you have to spread it out amongst creatures and or players. Fanning the Flames. This is a repeatable burn spell. Gelatinous Genesis. Say you pay 9 mana for this card, you get 4 4/4s. That's efficiency if you ask me. It's a really nice card in this deck. Genesis Wave. Love it, hate it. Personally, I hate this card. I hate when it's cast against me, but I'm a big hypocrite for playing it in this deck. But hey man, I'm playing Rosheen, I gotta play Genesis Wave. Strength of the Tajuru. This is my overrun card. This is a win condition card in the deck. The multi-kicker mechanic on this card just does insane amounts of damage. Sigil of Distinction. Nice equipment, nice way to spend any mana that you may have sitting around. Verdeloth the Ancient. This card makes a bunch of 2/2 saplings. Worm Calling. A repeatable creature effect. Soul Foundry. When it comes into play, you imprint a creature on it, and then you pay X, tap it, and put a token that's a copy of that card into play. So it works really well with Rosheen and just tokens every turn. Kessig Wolf Run. A good way to spend mana that you may have sitting around, a good way to pump up Rosheen, maybe even deal some commander damage. This brings us to the mana cards. First up we have Vernal Bloom. I have a ton of forests in this deck, so this card just goes bonkers with that. It's one of the best mana ramp spells in the deck. Extraplanar Lens. This card will remove specifically a snow-covered forest so that your opponents can't glean the benefit of this card like you can. Caged Sun. Again, we have lots of green land, lots of green creatures. Verdeloth. He's banned for a reason. When he's in my opening hand, I'm just a really happy guy. Yavimaya Elder. Draw a card, get some lands. Sakura-Tribe Elder. Rampant growth on a stick. Frontier Guide. This guy takes advantage of leftover mana that you may have sitting around. He's repeatable, rampant growth every turn. I just want to keep hitting land drop after land drop after land drop after land drop. Seedguide Ash. When he dies, you put 3 forests into play. He's a 4/4, sorry. Keep in mind that you can get Stomping Grounds with this card, and he also is very good with Greater Good. Krosan Tusker. Cycle him in the early game to get you a land and a card, but in the late game you can even cast him as a creature. This deck really likes big creatures, so you'll see that theme continue. Oracle of Mul Daya, great ramp card, it's a staple. Colony Heart Expedition, 2 mana for 2 lands and a play tapped. Seems good to me. The only drawback is you gotta hit 3 landfall triggers, but with as much ramping as this deck does, it's really not a problem. Explosive Vegetation, 2 rampant growths. Skyshroud Claim puts 2 forests into play. Untapped? Are you kidding me? Get out of here. Cultivate, more ramp. Crop Rotation. This is an interesting card. It can search for many of my utility lands, some of which specifically go with other cards in the deck, as you'll see later. Soul Ring. This is it's a staple mana rock. Gotta have it. This brings us to the tutors and card draw section of the deck, starting with Hoarding Dragon. He can search for an artifact. When he dies, you get that artifact. So a lot of times he'll search for Caged Sun. Defense of the Heart. Since when did Tooth and Nail with Entwine cost 4 mana? Well, since a long time, I guess. But this card will typically live until my upkeep, and when it does, I just go to town. Tooth and Nail, great card. Gotta have it. Godo Bandit Warlord. This is a guy that will search for equipment for me. I have some really nice equipment in this deck. I have the aforementioned Sigil of Distinction and these following cards. Lightning Greaves, Whispersilk Cloak, Loxodon Warhammer, and Sword of Feast and Famine, all searchable with Godo. Next up we have Sears Sundial. This is probably my favorite card draw card in Commander, especially in this deck that was just constantly putting lands onto the battlefield. Pay 2 to draw a card. Garruk's Pack Leader. This is one of those cards I was talking about that interacts favorably with big, huge creatures. So play a big guy, draw a card. Drum Hunter. Again, if you have a big creature at the end of your turn, draw a card. And to boot, he adds mana. Very nice. Momentous Fall. Yeah, no, my dream with this card is to do it on Woodfall Primus. Seems good to me. Gain a bunch of life, draw a bunch of cards. Soul's Majesty, same thing. Lots of big creatures in the deck, draws a lot of cards. Harmonize, staple, green, card draw card. Greater Good, great in this deck. Again, I have a bunch of big creatures, so works real nice. Yeah, this brings us to the miscellaneous utility section of the deck. Okay, starting with Spine of Ish Sah. When this comes into play, you destroy a permanent, and when it dies, you destroy another permanent. But Matt, how will you ever get this card to die? Well, let me tell you. Phyrexia's Core. This is one of those cards that I can search for with crop rotation. It says, pay 1, tap it, sacrifice an artifact, you gain 1 life. So, you sacrifice the Spine to this, you get it back. Sacrifice it, get it back. Sacrifice it, get it back. For 7 mana, you can keep destroying permanents. Next up, we have Flametongue Kavu. This is probably the only creature in the deck that actually can kill a creature when it comes in. Nice card. Efficient. Acidic Slime we have up next. I have several of these destroy non-land permanent type cards in this deck. This guy additionally makes a great blocker. Woodfall Primus. Really good card. One of my faves. He's got Persist. He destroys a non-land non-creature permanent when he comes into play. Sylvan Primordial. This card in the multiplayer game will get you a ton of lands. Over in Poland when I was playing, he was actually banned in the metagame. People were just copying him over and over and over. I don't do crap like that in this deck, but now that I'm back in the States, I gotta put him back in. Shine of the Firebrand. Her -2 ability is what I'm always doing with this, most of the time. I have a ton of sorceries in the deck, so doubling a sorcery is really nice with her. Next we have Rampaging Bear. As you saw before with the mana section of the deck, this deck plays tons of lands, so you're gonna get a lot of beasts in a hurry. Dungrove Elder. Lots of forests. He's big. Hexproof. Paleoloth up next. Another big creature that interacts with, Drum Hunter, Garruk's Pack Leader, and also you play more big guys, and you can return a creature from your graveyard to your hand. Charmbreaker Devils. This is one of my favorite cards in Commander. Nice card advantage card. Beginning of your upkeep, you return an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand at random, and it makes him bigger. Eternal Witness. Staple. Come on. Kamal, Fist of Krosa. This is Overrun on a Stick. He's another one of my win condition cards. I only put him in recently. Haven't tried out the target land becomes a 1/1 until end of turn. That seems really insane. Turn someone's land into 1/1 creatures and then Savage Twister? Get out of here. That's kind of mean. Hollow the Night Pack. This is another one of my big spells that I can win the game with if I can put my wolves up or something. But yeah, this will the pack will be big. That's all I'm saying. This brings us to the land section of the deck. First up we have Tectonic Edge, a couple land destruction spells here. We also have Strip Mine and then Dust Bowl. This card not so much in multiplayer. You don't want to be strip mining yourself, but in a one-on-one matchup, this card can just give him the business. Temple of the False God. This is a nice ramp on a land, staple card. Thespian Stage. Just put this in recently, haven't done much with it, but it seems good. Copy of Maze of Ith. There are so many good utility lands in Commander. Yavimaya Hollow. I got this in all my green decks. Regenerate a creature. Mosswort Bridge. Just put this one in as well. The Hideaway. The Hideaway mechanic seems crazy on this because this deck produces big creatures very easily, and playing that spell for free just seems really nice. I'm sure it will be. Scrying Sheets. This is another card that interacts favorably with the snow-covered lands. You can pay 2, 1 in a snow, which is, all my basic lands, and tap it. And then you can, if that card on top is a snow card, then you get it. Mountain Valley is up next. This is just a mana fixer. Same with Terramorphic Expanse and Stomping Ground. And finally, we have the basic lands. I have, let's see, what is it? 6 mountains, 6 snow-covered mountains, and then also I have 19 snow-covered forests. And that's it for my deck. Thanks for watching Commander Decks. For more Commander videos, I invite you to check out my YouTube channel. If you like what you just saw, as always, like and subscribe.